So today's lab is about diagnosis of bacterial diseases or bacterial infections. So the learning objective in your booklet is only one blanket learning objective given as lab diagnosis of bacterial infections. This is only your learning objective, so a very broad one. So please read the books and go through this presentation also carefully. So for making any diagnosis, it begins with the sample collection. So proper sample collection and transportation, and then after tests are done on the samples. So the steps of diagnosis of bacterial infection is, number one, first of all, collect the specimen and then examine the specimen with the eyes whether this is proper, and then after send it for processing in the lab. So when the specimen is collected, what next thing we do? We do some staining over that. Staining means putting color on the bacteria. So the bacteria will become colorful and we can see the bacteria easily under microscope. So the most common method of staining we use is gram stain. But for some bacteria like mycobacteria, we use AFB stain or acid fast stain or ZN stain. There are many names of this stain. Okay. And after staining, another thing which we do is the culture. To culture the bacteria, we use appropriate culture media, and we put the bacteria in the culture media, and the bacteria grow on them, and we identify them. How we identify the bacteria? We identify the bacteria by biochemical reactions and also by their colony morphology. And we also perform antibiotic sensitivity tests to know that which antibiotic will be effective to kill this bacteria. So first step in the bacterial infection diagnosis is sample collection. So sample collection depends on where the infection is. If the infection is in the brain, the sample will be CSF. We collect the CSF by lumbar puncture. If the sample in the respiratory tract, then the sample may be sputum, bronchoalveolar lavage, tracheal aspirate, like that. The secretions which are in the respiratory tract, those secretions we collect in different forms, and those are the sample for the respiratory infection. And if the infection is in the bloodstream, for example, septicemia, the sample to be collected in that case is blood sample. We take the blood with the help of needle and syringe and we culture the blood. In case of urinary tract infection, we collect the urine. And similarly, we can also collect the tissue, biopsy, catheters, exudates, and wound swab, etc. Here, the care should be taken that the sample to be for a microbiology investigation should be collected in a sterile container. Sterile container means the container does not have any bacteria, spore, fungus, etc. It should be perfectly sterile. It should be broad mouth, and the sample to be collected with the aseptic technique into that container and should be sent to the lab as soon as possible. Because if we take too much time in sending the sample, the bacteria may be killed in the sample only. Okay. So once the sample reaches the lab, microbiology lab, after sample collection, the first thing we do is the microscopy of the sample to see whether any bacteria are present or not. So microscopy can be done in two ways, by staining or without staining. So without staining, the technique is dark field microscopy. In this, no stain is used, but the lighting of the microscope is such that the background becomes black and only the bacteria present on the slide, they looks like illuminated. So this is dark field microscopy. So this dark smear or wet film, the dark field is specially used for spirochetes because they are very thin. They cannot be seen in the gram stain. So if in this photograph is coming and asked what is the staining technique, then there is no staining. It is directly microscopic technique, which is dark field microscopy. Okay. And another way is that, see, this microscopic examination is for direct smear in dark field diaphragm microscope for spirochetes. Another way is that we can do the gram staining. And after gram staining, the bacteria may become either purple blue or may remain red in color. If the bacteria become purple blue, they are gram positive bacteria, and if they remain red in color, then these are gram negative bacteria. So here you see this bacteria. What is the color of the bacteria? Ahmad Al Jawaid, tell me. And this session is being recorded. And I know that who is answering, who is interacting, who is not interacting. Abdul Aziz, yes, please.
Doctor, this is crystal violet.
This crystal violet is okay. Crystal violet is the name of the stain. But
Yeah.
what is the, but I am asking, what is the color of the bacteria after the staining?
It will be
Not
violet
will
blue.
be. In this photograph, what is the color here?
Purple, doctor.
Purple.
Purple, blue.
So because this is purple, this is gram positive or negative?
Positive.
Gram positive. And Ahmad Al Hafi and Basam Malawi, please tell me what is the color of the gram negative bacteria after gram staining? Basam. Ahmad Al Jawaid, sleeping? Ahmad Al Jawaid? Okay.
No, here, doctor.
Not here? No, his
Here, doctor.
please tell me what is the color of the gram negative bacilli or gram negative bacteria after gram staining. Very simple and clear basic thing.
Clear, simple, and clear basic stain. Clear, simple, doctor. The negative become like purple, and the basic with no color.
Okay, I simplify question again. In 2 lines, I am asking what is the color of gram positive bacteria after gram staining and what is the color of gram negative bacteria after gram staining. Now answer.
The first question, doctor, become like
Gram positive bacteria, what is the color?
pinkish.
Wrong.
Why?
What is the color here in this picture?
Red.
No, the bacteria dot. What is the color?
Dark.
Dark blue or black, you can say, or purple. This is gram positive. Okay. And the gram negative color is red. Okay.
Okay.
So I already spoken this and you are not able to answer. Mujri Hadi. If you do not respond, that means I am knowing that you are not listening. And this session is being recorded. Okay, for record. That the students are responding or not responding. The doctor is speaking, but the student are not listening. Mujri Hadi. Abdulillah Al Mutairi.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, Abdulillah.
Yes, the gram positive bacteria is purple blue, appear purple blue, and the gram negative appear red or pinkish
Okay.
after the stain.
Okay, good. Sami Al Mutairi. Because in this question only the students commit mistake. That is why I want to know from everybody. You are attentive or not? Sami Al-Mutari,
Yes, doctor.
tell me the color of gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria after gram staining.
The gram-positive, it will be purple or blue,
Yes.
and gram-negative will be red or pink.
Very good. Very good. Now, another thing to focus in gram staining is that the shape of bacteria. So, the shape of bacteria may be different types. So, who will tell me how the cocci looks like and how the bacilli? Anybody? Otherwise, I will take names.
bacilli doctor appear elongated
Huh?
and the cocci appear like ducks.
Yes, round. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And in a gram stain, if it comes, a gram staining slide, three things we have to tell about the bacteria. The first thing, whether it is gram positive or gram negative. Okay. The second thing, whether this is bacilli or cocci. And the third thing is that how it is arranged, whether this is in cluster, whether it is in a chain, or whether it is in the pair. So what do you think? See here.
Pair, doctor.
If you see here, the gram staining is written like this: gram positive diplococci. Diplo means pair, cocci. So all three things are described here. But in
Mostly in
Imtihan,
Pneumococcus, doctor.
yes, it is coccus because round. Okay. And in exam, when we ask, what do you see in this gram stain? Most of you say, doctor, this is positive, gram positive. Somebody will say only cocci. Some will say only pair. And believe me, if you write only one thing, you will get only 3 marks out of 10. To get 10 marks in gram stain, you have to write all three things. You have to write it is gram positive or negative, gram positive here. Then you have to write whether this is cocci or bacilli. And you also have to mention its arrangement. So this is gram positive cocci in pair. Or you can say gram positive diplococci. Diplo means it is in pair and it is cocci. So all three things you have to mention. Okay. So this is gram positive diplococci. And the example of gram positive diplococci is Klebsiella pneumoniae. And it is a common cause of respiratory tract infection and also a common cause of meningitis. So in case of meningitis, the CSF may show Neisseria meningitidis or Streptococcus pneumoniae. So this is Streptococcus pneumoniae gram positive. Neisseria is gram negative. So regarding the gram staining, we already have taken a class in the previous block. So because this is only the lab diagnosis of bacterial infections, we are mainly focusing on the steps. So the first step is done, the staining. So the shape and size and arrangement of bacteria may be different. And that you have to learn from the previous block. Okay. But so far you should be knowing what is gram positive, what is gram negative, what is coccus, what is bacillus, etc. Some bacteria like Mycobacterium tuberculosis and Mycobacterium leprae, basically Mycobacterium, their cell wall is made up of lipid. So that is why these bacteria are not easily stained by the gram stain. So for them, we use Gill-Nielsen stain, which is also known as acid-fast stain. In this staining, for decolorization, we use sulfuric acid. That is why this staining is known as acid-fast staining. So after the staining, the color of the bacteria remains red and the background is blue. So if the background is blue and the color of the bacteria is red, and then most probably this is acid-fast staining. This is a modified acid-fast staining. That is why the background looks like different, but the color of bacteria is red. Okay. So the acid-fast bacilli, basically the most important example is mycobacteria. And these may be Mycobacterium tuberculosis or Mycobacterium leprae. See, modified Ziehl-Neelsen staining for Mycobacterium leprae. Other staining methods include the fluorescent staining, auramine, rhodamine staining, and special staining for different bacteria. Here it is an example for tubercle bacilli or Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and this is auramine, rhodamine stain, you can say. Okay. Or you can say in the imtihan, a photo just like this come, you should say if this is fluorescent staining, just khalas. So we discussed 2-3 types of the microscopic examination. One examination is the dark field microscopy, which is done for spirochetes. In this, the background is dark and no special staining is used. This is gram staining. This is acid-fast staining. And this is the fluorescent staining. Another way of detecting the bacteria in the sample or detecting the bacterial disease is to detect its antigen in the sample. See, in the staining, we are looking at the bacteria directly, but sometimes the number of bacteria is very, very low and we don't see anything in the microscope, but still some bacteria are there. So how to find them? In that case, we detect their antigen, which is soluble and present in the sample. So how to detect the antigen? We detect the antigen with the help of many antigen-antibody reactions. And the most common is the agglutination test. This is the agglutination test kit. Okay, latex agglutination. Most commonly, this is used for meningitis, but in other cases also it can be used. So you can see here, agglutination means clumping formation. So wherever the clumping is there, that is positive. So which one is positive out of these 6 tests?
Four and six.
Yes, very good. 4 and 6. And can you read what is written here, over them? Can you read it?
Yeah, the name of the bacteria.
Names of it. Here is Streptococcus B, Haemophilus influenzae B. This is Streptococcus pneumoniae. This is Neisseria meningitidis. This is Neisseria meningitidis, another group. And this is control group. Control means this is positive control to check the kit is okay or not for that. So these are the common bacteria, which are the names are written here. Streptococcus group B. This is H. influenzae type B. This is S. pneumoniae. This and E. coli K1 is here, and Neisseria meningitidis is here. Okay. So these are the common bacteria which cause meningitis. So it is a kit for meningitis, and in the CSF sample, if we put a drop of CSF sample and a drop of this latex and mix, and in which the test is positive, read the name above that, and that bacteria is causing infection in that case. So in the similar way, for other diseases, other kits are there for agglutination to detect which bacteria is causing infection. So this is basically detection of the bacterial antigen in the sample. This is another method of making the diagnosis of the infectious diseases. Then comes the culture. Culture is a very specific test and a very good test, but the problem with the culture is that it takes time. It takes time of 24 to 48 hours, means 1 or 2 days. And but if you use the staining is fast. Means within 1 hour you can know that whether gram-positive bacteria, gram-negative bacteria. But in staining you cannot say that which bacteria is this, because the same shape is found in many bacteria, not only the Streptococcus pneumoniae, other bacteria may be found in this shape. So we don't know what is the name of the bacteria, number one. We don't know which antibiotic will be effective against this bacteria. And these 2 specific answers can only be given by culture. Okay, although it takes time, but it will tell everything confirmatory. Okay. So what is culture, by the way? Culture is a method of growing the bacteria outside the body in the culture plate. For example, in the farming or agriculture, we throw the seeds in the soil, and the seeds they develop into the plants, and from the plants we take the fruits and vegetables, etc. In the same way, the bacterial culture means throwing the bacteria or putting the bacteria on a nutrition medium in a plate, and here the bacteria rapidly multiply and they grow into colonies. And the time taken to grow the colony is very less. Means only within 1 day or 2 days, the colony they grow. And we see the colony and perform the test on the bacterial colonies. That is the basically sample culture. What are the culture media? The commonly used culture media are these. Blood agar. Blood agar is red in color. What is present in this medium? See, this is a plastic plate having a layer of blood agar. This blood agar is having nutrition in the form of meat extract, peptone, and the blood, of course. Blood is also there. That is why this is red. So this is blood agar. And this is chocolate agar. Ahmad al-Jawaid.
Yes,
Awesome.
doctor.
What is there in the chocolate agar? In blood agar, blood is present. What is there in the chocolate agar?
I forget, doctor. You didn't mention.
Anybody? Abdullah
Doctor,
ji,
there
yes.
is blood, you burn the blood or make
Yes.
it hot.
Yes. We don't burn, we heat the blood. If we heat the blood agar at 60 degrees Celsius or 70 degrees Celsius for 15 or 20 minutes, it changes the color and converts to the chocolate agar. And this is McConkey agar. It is pinkish. What is the difference between McConkey and blood agar? Can you see? It is transparent mostly, and this is opaque, blood agar. Otherwise, both are red in color. So these are the common nutritional media. Over that, we put the sample, we spread the sample, and we keep the plates in the incubator at 37 degrees Celsius. And within 24 to 48 hours, the colonies grow. Like these are the colonies. Can you see the colonies? This is the blood agar, and around the colony, there is a clear area. This clear area means the RBCs are killed or destroyed in this area. So that is why the red color disappears. All the hemoglobin, it is used up by the bacteria. So that it is a clear area. This is known as hemolysis. The hemolysis
What is the
of many types.
arrangement, doctor?
Yes?
What is the arrangement in the right picture?
Your name Saad?
Yes.
Saad. Arrangement
Yes,
is
sir.
arrangement to be described in gram staining. Do you think this is gram stain?
No, doctor.
So if it is not gram stain, so arrangement is not to be mentioned here. Okay?
Okay.
The arrangement is only important for gram stain. Here you have to see the colony. And around this colony, it is the hemolysis, because on the blood agar, you have to comment on the hemolysis. Okay, so this is complete hemolysis because clearing of all the red color of the blood here. So this is complete hemolysis. The complete hemolysis is known as beta hemolysis. What about this? This is also hemolysis. But do you see a complete clearing of RBC here? There is a greenish color around the colonies. This blood agar, but no complete hemolysis. So this incomplete hemolysis is known as alpha hemolysis. And in this, the incomplete hemolysis is there and greenish discoloration of the plate becomes. So this is alpha hemolysis. The other features of the bacterial colony on the blood agar, we see its shape, its size, and other things. Okay. And here, this is also a colony. What do you see here? What are these things?
Circles.
This is circle-like, but this is from single colony. This is known as swarming growth. These are looking like the waves of the sea, ocean. So this kind of growth is known as swarming growth or swarming colonies. This is seen specifically by one bacteria only, and the name of this bacteria is Proteus. If in the imtihan a photo like this comes, question comes, what do you see? You should say it is a swarming growth on blood agar. Which bacteria gives this kind of growth? The answer will be Proteus. What do you see here? This is the McConkey agar. What do you see here? This is also McConkey agar. But there is a big difference between these two. What do you see here? What is the difference? Saad,
Yes, doctor.
what is the difference in this McConkey growth and this McConkey growth?
The left picture, incomplete hemolysis.
My dear Saad, this is McConkey agar. In McConkey agar, hemolysis cannot occur. Hemo means what?
Hemo means blood.
So for hemolysis to occur, blood is needed, lazim. So is there blood in McConkey agar?
No.
No. So you should not say hemolysis. Hemolysis is important only in blood agar, only and only in blood agar. Don't say hemolysis in chocolate, don't say hemolysis in McConkey. This is blood agar, this is blood agar, this is blood agar. So that is why hemolysis. So on blood agar, two types of hemolysis, beta or alpha. Okay. The third thing is known as gamma, but it is no hemolysis. But if you say on McConkey agar hemolysis, totally wrong. Okay. So this is McConkey agar. Now you tell me what is what difference you see in this plate and this plate. I am not asking anything. I am just asking what difference you are seeing.
The color.
Color, yes. What is the difference in
shape.
color? Please speak.
The left picture is like pink,
Yes. And the right one?
like brown.
Light one is not that pink. The background color, the medium is similar. Okay. So it is not, it is not red. So the colonies which are red on McConkey agar, if on McConkey agar, the red colonies are there, these are known as lactose fermenting colony. Can you read this? Lactose fermenting colonies. So these red colonies are lactose fermenting. And the colonies which are not red on McConkey agar, that means those are non-lactose fermenting. So some bacteria are forming lactose fermenting colonies, some of them they form non-lactose. So the bacteria which are lactose fermenting, they are Escherichia coli or E. coli and Klebsiella. So it can be E. coli or Klebsiella. And this may be Proteus or maybe Pseudomonas. This is non-lactose fermenting. Clear?
Clear, doctor.
Clear.
And this is nutrient agar. Nutrient agar means the nutrient agar is not shown here in the beginning. But if you see the previous lectures, previous block, it is a medium without any color. See here, this is red color. This is chocolate agar, chocolate color. This is red color. Nutrient agar is colorless. But if upon growth, you see the background, there is no color in the center. In the periphery, no color. So in the nutrient agar, if there is color appears, that means that color is formed by the bacteria. So some bacteria, they form color. For example, Pseudomonas aeruginosa produce green color colonies. You can see the green pigment in the medium end of the colony. This green color is due to the pigment produced by Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Very important. Okay. Similarly, this yellow color is specifically produced by Staphylococcus aureus, the golden yellow pigment. Some of the Staphylococcus aureus, they produce golden yellow pigment on nutrient agar colonies. So if we combine all these features, I'm going previous slides, okay? So what we see after culture? After culture, we have to see on the colony its morphology, whether it is small, big, size, shape, etc., type of hemolysis, any pigment produced, etc. Then after we will perform the biochemical reaction, we perform biochemical reaction from the colonies of the on the culture media. We perform some biochemical test on the bacteria to know the exact species. So I will discuss that, but before doing that, I want to take your attendance. And I hope all of you have written your attendance in the chat. And within a minute, I will tell you your names, who are present, who are absent.
Doctor,
Yes.
did you put
So you can see the presentation now.
Yes,
Yes,
Doctor.
So we were here. So after the culture morphology, we do the identification test. The very common identification test we are going to discuss, not in detail, okay, not the complicated ones. The first test is catalase test. Can you see in this test the presence of bubble? Can you see?
Yes, Doctor.
So catalase can be done either on the slide or in the test tube. So what is this liquid? This liquid is hydrogen peroxide. What this is? H2O2. Okay. If this in this H2O2 we put some bacteria, if the bacteria is catalase positive, they release the oxygen. And that oxygen form the bubble. So if the bubbles are present, that means the catalase is present. So the catalase positive bacterial colony or the growth, they release the bubbles from the hydrogen peroxide. But some bacteria, they are catalase negative. In that case, no bubbles will come out from the hydrogen peroxide. That means the bacteria is catalase negative. Similarly, this is also catalase, but this is in the tube. The left one is negative because there is no bubble. In the right, this is positive. Is that clear? The name of the test is catalase. The one with the bubble is the positive catalase test, and the one without the bubble is the negative catalase test. The another test is coagulase test. Coagulase test is done only for the Staphylococcus. So in this case, we take the human plasma in 2 test tubes, plasma. And in if the coagulase test is positive, after putting the bacteria into this, after many hours, there is formation of clot. If the clot is formed, it means coagulase is positive. Can you see the clot at the bottom of the tube?
Yes,
So this is coagulase positive. And if there is no clot formation by the bacteria, that means this is coagulase negative. So if the Staphylococcus, which is coagulase positive, is named as Staphylococcus aureus. And most of the bacteria, most of the Staphylococci which are coagulase negative, they are also known as coagulase negative Staphylococci. But the positive one, mainly it is called as Staphylococcus aureus. This is another test. This is known as oxidase test. This oxidase test is done with a paper strip. This is paper. This is paper. But this is not a simple paper. In this paper, we put some chemical and we dry this paper. That chemical is oxidase reagent. The function of that oxidase reagent is that if you touch this paper with the colony of a oxidase positive bacteria, the paper becomes purple within seconds, maybe 5 seconds within, it changes the color from colorless to purple. So here we touched one colony of the bacteria, here another colony. So this bacteria is oxidase negative because there is no change on the paper. Here this is oxidase positive because of the purple color. So which bacteria is oxidase positive? The classical example is Pseudomonas. So Pseudomonas is an example of oxidase positive bacteria. Another biochemical test is urease test. Some bacteria, they split the urea into ammonia and carbon dioxide. The ammonia mix with the water and form the water alkaline. Okay. And that alkaline color changes the color of the indicator present in the medium to become red. So normally the color of the urease test medium is yellow. So if you grow a bacteria on this medium and it is urease positive, it will split the urea, present the sample and release ammonia, and that ammonia will make the color of the medium red like this. So if you see the red color in urease test medium, the bacteria is urease positive. And if there is no red color in the urease test, that means urease negative. So the name of the urease positive bacteria is Proteus.
Doctor, the hydrogen from the water,
Please ask again.
the hydrogen that ammonia accepted from the water, from
No, this-
NH2 to NH3.
That is a different issue you are discussing here. Here we are not using any water. We are using the bacterial colony from the culture plate and we put directly into the urease test medium. There we are not using any water.
How accept the H, doctor?
pH.
Because urea convert to ammonia. Urea
Yes.
NH2 and ammonia NH3. How came?
See, the urea is a compound, okay? And it
Okay.
is made up of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and hydrogen, okay?
Okay.
And the bacteria which split the urea by producing urease, the urease enzyme break the urea into ammonia and carbon dioxide. Okay, NH3. You are asking how this from urea and that is a chemistry thing. Ask to any chemistry professor. If you heat the urea, it will split into the carbon dioxide and ammonia. And how it splits? Ask to the chemistry books. Here we are not discussing in detail. You just take this. The urease enzyme splits the urea into ammonia and carbon dioxide.
Okay, thank you.
And if the ammonia is produced, the color of the medium changes to the red. So the medium becomes red. That means urea is positive. And this medium is urease test medium, not any other medium. Then we do another thing, that is antibiotic sensitivity test. In antibiotic sensitivity test, we take a plate, and this plate is not a simple medium. For antibiotic sensitivity, we use a special medium, and the name of that medium is Muller-Hinton agar. Don't forget this. Don't write nutrient agar is used for antibiotic sensitivity. The medium used for antibiotic sensitivity is Muller-Hinton agar. In this Muller-Hinton agar, we spread on the background the bacteria, and after then we apply many discs, and each disc is having a different antibiotic. The A may be penicillin, the B may be gentamicin, the C may be ciprofloxacin, like that. So if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so we are using 7 discs of different antibiotics, 7 different antibiotics. And if you observe here, near some disc, there is no growth, because in a circle, the bacteria are not able to grow. Why? Because this antibiotic is killing the bacteria. So any bacteria on the plate near this antibiotic disc, they are killed. That is why in this area, no bacteria is growing. This zone of no growth is known as zone of inhibition. And here also you can see a zone of inhibition. Here also you can see a zone of inhibition. But and here also a small zone of inhibition is there. So if you see, the size of the zone of inhibition is different for different antibiotic. So if the antibiotic is more active against this bacteria, the zone of inhibition is larger. If less active, the zone will be smaller. So there are guidelines that if the zone is very wide, it is sensitive. If the zone is very narrow, it may be intermediate sensitive or resistant. And if there is no zone, this is resistant, because this antibiotic is not working. That is why the bacteria is growing very near the disc also. So this is resistant. This is also resistant because very near, no growth is there. Okay. And this is sensitive, this is sensitive, this is sensitive, you can say. Is that clear? The name of this test is disc diffusion antibiotic sensitivity test. Another name of this test is Kirby-Bohr method, or you can say antibiotic sensitivity test. All these names are acceptable. Antibiotic sensitivity test, disc diffusion test, Kirby-Bohr test, all are okay. And we may ask that to which antibiotic the bacteria is sensitive, to which it is resistant. The one with a large inhibition zone is sensitive to that antibiotic. No zone resistant. A very small zone resistant. But if a small but not very small in between a zone is there, that may be moderately sensitive or intermediate sensitive. In that case, we can say. Nowadays, there are machines also which automatically culture. For example, this machine is known as Bactec machine. It is for blood culture. This is a blood culture bottle for Bactec. What we do in this, we take the blood, we remove the cap of this bottle. There is a seal, and through that we inject the blood into the medium. Inside the bottle, there is medium already present from the company. And then after we put the bottle here in these slots, this is Bactec machine, and we close the door. This machine keeps on rolling the medium and keeps on checking if there is any bacteria growing in the medium, and it will give a computer signal, a beep or something, or alarm. And if there is an alarm occurs, the doctor comes and check in which bottle the alarm is there. The light will burn near that bottle. So they take the bottle and take the culture from that bottle and put on the agar, and they know that which bacteria is growing. So this is automatic system, computerized. This is known as automatic blood culture system. And this is the bottle, and this is a computerized system to check the growth of the bacteria. Actually, the computer checks the presence of carbon dioxide. If the carbon dioxide increases in the medium, then it will give a signal. And without a growth, bacterial growth, carbon dioxide cannot generate automatically. So if carbon dioxide is increasing, that means the bacteria is growing. So by automatic system, the computer knows the bacteria is growing in this bottle. This is another automatic machine, you can say. This system has found wide use in a clinical microbiology laboratory and is used for rapid identification and to perform automated antimicrobial sensitivity tests. So this is identification system and sensitivity system. This is Bactec. This is another system, automated system. Other methods of identification include the serology and the molecular identification. Molecular identification, we detect the DNA of the bacteria by using polymerase chain reaction and by using nucleic acid probes. And as Saad asked that some bacteria are anaerobic, for them we use anaerobic jar. See, I have another presentation also for this, but that has 50-60 slides. If I include everything, all types of culture media, everything, that makes the number of slides 65. Okay. So that is why we touched only the basic concepts of bacterial infection diagnosis. And other techniques, other methods, how we do this, how we do that, what are the steps of gram staining. These are already taken care in the first block. So need not to repeat again and again. Here we are discussing how the bacterial infections are detected, what are the strategies, what are the steps taken to detect, or what are the tests done to detect the bacterial infections. Do you have any question? If you have any question, you are welcome to ask.
Doctor, I have a question for in the slide of detect of bacterial agents.
Yes, tell me. Which slide?
I didn't understand bacterial agents. Sorry, bacterial antigen. Can you repeat the slides, Doctor? Because I didn't understand it.
Okay. Yes, this slide.
Yes.
Yes, tell me what do you understand? What do you want to ask?
If the bacteria, like in picture or in symbol 4 and 6, that means it's able to infect or what?
See, this is not bacteria. This is patient sample. Suppose I have taken the blood of a person or urine of a person. How can you say that this patient is suffering the urine infection? Or this actually antigen detection is most commonly done in the CSF. You have collected the brain fluid or CSF from a patient. You want to know whether this person is suffering from bacterial infection or not. What you will do?
I will take a sample from him.
Sample is taken. Then what you will do from the sample?
Doing the step for gram stain through the steps.
If the number of bacteria is less in the gram stain, you are not able to see. Then, but still you doubt that the patient may have the bacterial infection. What you will do then?
If I can't see the bacteria in gram stain,
No, you can see, but most of the time you cannot see the bacteria in gram stain. Only when the infection is severe, you can see.
no, then if I can see it, I have to do the bacterial antigen.
My question is, what is other method to detect the bacteria in the CSF other than the staining? Staining is one method. What is another method to detect the bacteria in the CSF?
cerebrospinal fluid, doctor.
Cerebrospinal fluid. How will you detect the bacteria? One method is gram stain. Okay, what is another method?
Using antibodies, doctor.
Culture media.
Culture media. Very good. That is another method. You can do culture. Any other method to detect the bacteria?
Polymerase chain reaction, doctor.
Saad, very good. Mumtaz. So if the bacteria is there, the DNA of the bacteria will also be there. Okay. So you can do the polymerase chain reaction to detect the DNA. So even if the number of bacteria is very, very less, then also you can pick it up. Even the bacteria is dead, not living. Even in that case, the PCR will be positive. Any other test? Somebody was saying detecting antigen.
Doctor,
Yeah.
this detecting antigen, like when we took in man an environment block ELISA machine or something like that.
There are many methods. All the methods, either you do ELISA, radioimmunoassay, precipitation, agglutination, the immunochromatographic method. What are these? All these methods, they are different methods to detect one thing, that is antigen or antibody. You can use ELISA, you can use agglutination, you can use radioimmunoassay. All tests, their purpose is only and only to detect antigen in the sample or antibody in the blood. Only one thing. So here the method we are using is the agglutination. But the same antigen can also be detected by using ELISA. Okay, ELISA will also be positive. You got it?
Doctor, do you have specific?
Yes.
Doctor, do you have specific antibody for specific bacteria?
Yes, you got the right point. So here we are having a specific antibody to Streptococcus B. That antibody we add in the well 1. In the second well, we are adding a specific antibody only to Haemophilus influenzae. The third well, we are putting a specific antibody only to the Streptococcus pneumoniae. Here antibody to Neisseria, here antibody to E. coli. So in all these different wells, different antibodies are there. And then we add a drop of CSF of the patient in each of them. So the patient is suffering only from one bacteria, but which bacteria is causing infection?
React to the specific antibody.
In whichever well the agglutination occur, that well means that antigen of that bacteria is mojood. So in this case, Neisseria meningitis is giving a positive test. Okay? Or
So
the
doctor,
Neisseria meningitis antibody is giving a positive test, so the patient is suffering from Neisseria. You got it?
Doctor, so
Yes.
the bacteria that react with a specific antibody with a specific antigen, we can detect the type of the bacteria.
That bacteria is present. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Most welcome. Did your query is clear? Any doubt?
Yes, doctor, thank you. But doctor, the antigen that I put it in the symbol to react with the bacteria, their name is in the slide, or I have to search for it?
No. Antigen is produced by antigen is the something which is produced by the bacteria. If that bacteria is causing infection in the brain, it will produce its antigen and it will be present in the CSF. So you need not to put the antigen separately. You have to take the CSF. The bacterial antigen is present in the CSF sample. Only
Okay,
thing
thank
you have to put the specific antibody.
Okay.
If it
Thank you.
reacts with that antibody, that bacteria is present in the CSF. If it is not reacting, that that bacteria is not present. Clear?
Yeah, clear, doctor. Thank you.
So
Doctor?
that's all. Yes.
I have a question about culture medias.
Yes, please.
So, for example, if a person had an infection of Staphylococcus aureus,
Yes.
so I want to put this bacteria in a culture media. I can put it in different culture medias or just
Yes.
one?
No. We have a set of culture media. For example, mostly in the hospitals we use blood agar and chocolate agar, blood agar and McConkey agar. But if we take CSF sample, we put 3: blood, chocolate, and McConkey. So we put a set of culture media. The same sample we put on the blood agar, same sample on chocolate, same sample on McConkey. So we examine all the plates to know the different characters of the bacteria. For example, on McConkey agar, I can know that whether this bacteria is lactose fermenter or not. But from McConkey agar, I cannot say this is hemolytic or not, beta hemolysis present or not. For that, I have to see the blood agar. You got it? And to see that which color is producing on the culture medium, I need to put another medium also. So 2-3 medium we use for the same sample. So if in the nutrient agar, if the green color is there, that means it is a Pseudomonas. So here, if you see in this slide, if you think that this bacteria was cultured only on blood agar, then it is wrong. The same bacteria we put on the blood agar, same on the chocolate agar, same on the McConkey, same on the nutrient agar. And we check all different agar to see the different character of the bacteria. And we combine them all the characters and we try to find out which bacteria is there. See here on McConkey, this is nutrient agar. You got it?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome. So if you have a question, you can ask. Otherwise, we will stop the session.
Can we go, doctor?
Yes. So
Thank you.
here I end the session, and all the best for your vacations.
Thank you.